it's critical that we look at life as life. They have a heartbeat, and that's what's important. Hey, it's Jaylen, and today I want to talk about the Titan. The submersible lost at sea, imploded. Lives have been lost. But today, I don't want to talk about how they were lost, what they did wrong, the science of the ocean. That's not my pace. You can go watch CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, wherever news is carried on either side of the aisle and have your field day with that. Today I have thoughts about you and I, humanity. The level of discourse on Facebook, especially Twitter and Instagram. And if MySpace existed, it would happen there too. Many people, let's say, split down the middle. Some from the beginning were concerned about life. And some from the beginning all the way through have dehumanized the fact that, billionaire or not, 5 people were lost and were dying or had died. And I'm not here to talk about defending billionaires, nor defending millionaires, nor defending thousandaires or dollar heirs or not a dollar in your pocket. But what I am defending is life and how we approach the conversation around people dying. When I think about this experience, I think about the people that go to Vegas and run a helicopter and tour around the city to get a perspective, to get an experience. They may pay $250. They may pay $1,000, which for those people, that is the experience and expense at their level of life or affordability. And for the people on this boat, in this submersible, they were billionaires. And so spending $250,000 was at their level for an experience and for an activity. Now, those people who are in Vegas who take helicopter rides, they also sign a waiver that signs away their rights to sue if they're injured or if they die. The only difference is the cost and the specific experience. Now, in reality, I don't think that going 2.5 miles under the ocean to see the Titanic is much different in that context from a helicopter tour around Vegas. It's an experience. It's on your level. Yes, it's a different experience. And you may have questions on why someone would want to go see the Titanic, but I would also ask you why you went and took a helicopter around Vegas. It's the Strip and it's desert. I'm not criticizing you. I'm not criticizing them. It's the same thing. Another thing was, who pays for it? The U.S. Coast Guard doesn't charge. So a lot of conversation like, why are we spending all this money to go find billionaires? I hope they're paying for it on the back end. And honestly, their family might say, hey, we have enough money and we appreciate the government going after this and supporting finding my spouse, my family, and here's a check to thank you for it. But in the same way, if you and friends rented a boat in the coast, in the port of Miami, and went out for a bit, and if you and your friends got lost in the ocean because a big wave came and took you, a big current came and took you, the U.S. Coast Guard doesn't want you to think about the cost of being rescued. If there is a concern with your safety, calling them is at the privilege and expense of taxpayers. The taxpayer who's lost and the expense of the taxpayers who fund this community with their taxes. This is important. So whether you're a billionaire or a thousandaire or a dollar heir, if you get lost at sea, the U.S. Coast Guard comes to get you. I also wonder about space exploration. This one day will be an actual thing that people will go to space, and there's a possibility that spaceships will lose power and someone has to come get them. And that's going to be an entirely different conversation that I think, to be honest, for me, this Titan experience opened up. There are things that go beyond the typical activity and expedition, that go beyond the bounds of what we know as normal, And as those things become more normal, people may get lost on the way there, get stuck on the way there, and someone has to come get them. And how do you go rescue a spaceship? In the same way, how do you go rescue a boat that's 2.5 miles underwater? Another thing I saw was this comparison of this scenario to refugees on boats that were lost at sea, some who died just a few weeks ago. And as much as I care for the lives of everybody, and yes, the government should have done more in that scenario and in that case to rescue them and get them to a space safety and get them to a space safely, even if it was bringing them to the U.S., getting them to a hospital, and then getting them back to their country if that is what was needed. But it made me think about a time, an era, where the conversation of Black Lives Matter was really loud. And when the word Black Lives Matter were said, there might have been someone on the other side saying, no, it's all lives matter. All lives matter. Why aren't we saying that? And in this situation, what it highlights is that sometimes we're unable to focus on those who are impacted right now without comparing it to those who've been impacted before. And yes, I'm comparing this to that scenario. If someone is lost at sea today, billionaire, thousandaire, refugee, if they're lost, let's do what we can today to save them without comparing it to what we did not do last week. Because we didn't do it last week doesn't mean we shouldn't do it this week, but it should mean we should look at what we did this week and how do we do that next week for more people. So next week, if people are lost at sea who are refugees, we should go after them and save them in some capacity from what we learned in this experience. But we shouldn't say, because we didn't last week, we shouldn't this week, and we never should. We should say, hey, we didn't last week, we are this week, and how do we do better moving forward? That's the question. Today's video, honestly, was just that, a rant about how we as humanity cannot continue to dehumanize people because they have money. Billionaire, millionaire, thousandaire. Humans are human. Lives matter. The life that's on fire today matters. Black lives matter. The lives on a boat that's lost at sea today matter. And we have to be considerate of those who are in need today and stop comparing to what we did not do last time. Let's use last time as a lesson for what we should do this time. It shouldn't be a reason for repeating what we did in the last situation. Humanity is interesting. People are interesting. What we choose to defend or how we choose to comment is it's interesting. It's a level of discourse that for some reason society chooses to pursue. We can't just care about lives without it being like, hey, we care about lives that are less fortunate. Well, we can't care about lives who have money. I think about the space of this search. 5 lives were lost in this experience, in this week, which is tremendously sad. I have prayers and thoughts for each of the family members of those immediately impacted and the community who've been impacted by the thought of it. One of the things that wrecked me this entire week was if they did not die immediately from an implosion, what 4 days or what 3 days would have been like 2.5 miles in the ocean with no phone signal, with no lights, with no hope of being rescued, having to use the bathroom, having to minimize your stress or anxiety or try to fight that in exchange for breathing slower to extend your oxygen just another minute. To think about what it means to last those 4 days and potentially die because you have no air to breathe. It's a terrifying visual, a terrifying sight. And somehow people still took this moment to talk about why we shouldn't care because they have all this money and they sign their lives away. We got to do better. Hope we do better. And this moment is a moment that we should all look at and learn from and look at how we do better in the future. But I think beyond the next vehicle being stuck in the ocean or, major life event that we all have experienced in some way, shape, or form in the way the media has showed it to us, I think this gives us a chance to think about just how we interact with people differently. Like, they have money, They're human. They don't have money. They're human. We love humans. We love people. They have a heartbeat. We love them. And that's it. Now, thank you so much for watching today's video. This is not a video on tech, not a video on business, but it is a video on the world, on how we as humans behave, how we grow, because my life matters, your life matters, those 5 lives matters, your family matters, their family matters. It's critical that we look at life as life. They have a heartbeat, and that's what's important. Thank you all for watching. Hope this video spoke something to you. Subscribe if you liked it. Like it if you liked it. If you didn't dislike it, comment. Let me know why you didn't like it. Let me know your opinion. Let me know your thoughts. If you liked it, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. My goal is to do more videos and about business, about economics, a little bit of politics, as I have opinions on them, to talk about why these things matter to you, how they impact you, and how you can make decisions to benefit from what's happening in the spaces around us. Thank you again for watching. See you soon. Again, subscribe, help me out. There's more like this coming, and because of your support, we'll keep it going. Oh, and lastly, when you give me comments, opinions are important on the topic. But if there's topics you want to see in the future, if there's ways we should improve this conversation, you let me know as well, because your feedback is important. It is critical to how we continue. I'm new to this. I'm true to this. There's a lot more to grow. Thank you so much. Again, this is Jaylen Bledsoe. Catch you soon.